Good afternoon, everyone, or late morning. I am now unmuted. This is Tim Sir Antonio, Neon One. We're going to get started in about just a minute. We got a healthy amount of folks who are interested in getting an overview of the Generosity Exchange. So I'm excited to give you a sneak preview. Not necessarily everyone in this is registered. So if you maybe want to, let's test out the little questions tab and pop in. Let me know if you've registered or not. That'll show and see if we can see the questions. Yes. Awesome, Tracy. Yeah, folks, if you want to pop in a yes, a no, and maybe a little bit about your organization, I'd love to hear that. Because that also plays into the idea of the exchange. So we'll get started formally with the overview in one more minute. This is being recorded as well, but won't be too long. It'll be a nice overview today. All right. So yeah, we're about a week out from the Generosity Exchange. Very exciting. We are all putting a lot of stuff behind the scenes together to make this a really enjoyable virtual event for you folks. Awesome. Happy to hear that you're registered. So let's go ahead and get into it. Really excited for what we've been putting together. Got a bunch of different stuff to walk you folks through. Also, if you did register, let me know if you've enabled your account on the actual virtual event platform and start setting things up, because I can show you how to start doing that. If you haven't received your login URL, let us know that as well. We'll look into it, but everybody's going to make sure we get that before. So we're going to do a pretty quick overview today. We're just going to kind of give a little bit of context for what exactly is this virtual event that we're planning for the Neon One ecosystem, and then give you a little tour. You're going to get a sneak peek of the platform in its full mightiness. I have been living in this thing for a while now, and so there's a lot of cool things that I've learned about it. I've planned some virtual conferences before, some actual conferences before, but this is interesting. This is new, so we're pretty excited about what we've put together for you. And then we're going to give a little bit of a content call out to kind of help you navigate through, and then some tips, tricks, and some swag. So check the downloadable PDF there. Definitely grab that, because there's some special swag at the very end that is clickable for you. That is going to be either already in your inbox because you've registered, or is coming your way. So you're going to get an early access to that by coming to today's webinar. This is a quote that we're going to hear a lot for Generosity Exchange, and I think it really sums up the spirit of what this event represents. Susan Smith, Chief Giving Day Officer from the Communities Foundation of Texas, says, "When you want to go fast, you go alone. When you want to go far, you go together." This has really resonated with me. I'm actually going to be interviewing her in just a few hours to do a pre-recorded session between them and the United Way of Metro Dallas. They did an amazing Giving Tuesday Now campaign that we're going to do a kind of live unpacking case study. And so we really think that this quote represents a lot of what we need right now in the industry. And so kind of I wanted to kind of start that and frame that in terms of why we've done the Generosity Exchange, which is a new virtual conference for nonprofit leaders and staff. Going to be honest, I can't wait to bring this in a safe way in a physical conference format, but for this year it's a virtual conference for obvious reasons. And so what we've done is we've wanted to do something like this for a long time. I've been with Neon in our CRM division, where I got my start, since 2011. And I had thought, oh, wouldn't it be great to have a conference, and had always envisioned what can we do different than your typical vendor conference, right? Like very heavy on product pitches and stuff like that. That's not what we're doing here. What we're going to be doing is we've curated over 50 sessions. I think we're at 56 at this point. Might add another few before all is said and done. Make my team have more of a heart attack. But we just want to put together a lot of great stuff for you. And so what we've done is we pulled deep into our ecosystem to put this together. One of the biggest criticisms that I've always seen is that conferences like this are always heavy on not only product pitches, but hearing from consultants who might not actually have worked for a nonprofit. That's not what we do here. Neon One doesn't do that. So I would say a comfortable percentage, almost 50%, are actual organizations just like you. So we have nonprofits of all sizes as well. A lot of times you go to these big conferences and you only hear from very large nonprofits, and that doesn't necessarily represent the reality for a lot of organizations. So we're going to hear from organizations that we all know and love, like Sesame Workshop, and then we're going to hear from small organizations like the Huntington Arts Council that are really awesome, but have a lot of focus and impact right in their own community, and that's what they focus on. So a lot of people that are just like you, and then we also dove into our ecosystem to connect and reach some of the best thought leaders in the world when it comes to the nonprofit space. So there's a lot of cool stuff. We're going to get into some of the content in a bit, but that's what this is. And this is an exchange. So there's a lot of interactive elements when you actually log into the platform that I want to kind of call out once we start unpacking things. And please, this is for your benefit to enjoy next week. So if you do have questions, definitely ping them. But I think I'm going to answer a bunch of stuff right now. What I want to do is take you on an actual product tour of the platform itself. And we're going to do this in two ways. First, I'm going to show you the desktop. So if you're on your laptop or something like that, your home office that maybe is your kitchen now or an actual office, depending. Great. Going to show you how things look there. Then I'm going to show you what it looks like on a phone. So it's the same content, and you can literally experience the entire conference just on your phone, but it looks a little different. So I want to make sure that you see that. And so I'm pretty excited to show you both of those. So let's get into the site itself. So this is what a logged in user would see. Now I'm going to have a little bit more because I'm a conference organizer, but what is nice is that a lot of what I'm going to be able to show you, pretty much everything I'm going to show you, you get to do. So this is pretty much what you're going to be able to see, other than seeing things like dashboard and edit template up there. So when you log in, you should be receiving, if you haven't already, a specific URL just for you. So when you register, we've sent out the onboarding URLs for everybody. We're going to do another round just in case for everybody. Before the end of next week, probably by end of this week, we'll send it out so everybody can get in. When you get in, it's going to ask you to kind of verify your profile. And so there's a few items that are going to be required there that have already been populated in some way. So like your name, but things like pronouns. So when you're talking with folks, that's going to help streamline those conversations. A description might not be pre-populated for you, so putting a little bio there. It is also going to be asking for a phone number because we have streamlined support. So there's going to be our support team. I'm going to show you how to reach them, but we also do have support from the platform partner that we've chosen for the event itself, who are going to be there. So you're getting information like this to potentially, hop on the phone or a screen share to walk through things if you're having trouble. But the ticket support's also very quick. I'm going to show you where to do that. Also, just kind of like, what are you? What's interesting about the exchange is that we have nonprofits, and then we also have a bunch of foundations and institutions, because we do giving events. These are community giving days, like North Texas Community Giving Day. And that's where thousands of nonprofits go to one website and donate. That's us. So we're going to have an exchange. We're going to have people mash up that typically don't mash up in a lot of different ways. That's what we're pretty excited about. We have mission types too. So please, kind of tag what type of organization you are, because I'll show you where to search on that type of stuff. And then also what products are you using, because that might help streamline conversations too. So notice adding a profile picture earns you some points. I'm going to get into what that means a little bit later on, but generally that's one of the first things that you'll be encouraged to do is fill out your profile. There is a help area here. You can hit that. So that will help. The landing page has some interactive elements. So if you click on any of these, it's going to bring you to our sponsors and exhibitors. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but that is important. We encourage you to check those out. If you haven't, for some reason, registered for the event yet, this is where you could save a spot or something like that. We're in progress and pretty much almost done with onboarding the vast majority of secondary and third attendees. Like if somebody bought their ticket, all the extra people from their organization, we're getting those onboarded this week. And then some call outs for some of the fun stuff that we're doing. So I'll get into these a little bit later. But we also have some social events. So there's two primary social events that I want to call out. There is a live stream. So this is a separate registration because it's for the public. It's not necessary to register for this to enjoy it. It's just if you want to interact with Adam Burke and Sunal Agrawal, that you can register and be part of the live stream. But if you're just like, I just want to watch it, like you could just check out our YouTube live station. We'll be putting it in here. We'll be tweeting it out, stuff like that. But if you actually want to talk and interact with these folks, then register, and that's public. So if you have friends that you think might be interested in that, you can even share that too. So we do some call outs for keynote speakers, things of that nature. You can view all speakers by clicking here. So the next part that I want to go to is once you start getting in here, I'm going to highly suggest that you go to the agenda. And so you can view the agenda in a few different ways. So you can print it out if you want. You can export this to kind of review in terms of some of the notes that you might be writing and stuff like that. I'll show you what happens there. And then there's also the calendar view. And so the calendar view is going to give you just an idea of the breadth of content that we have put together for you. I'll get into the color codes very shortly once we do the kind of deeper call outs. But pretty much we have some keynotes that we're encouraging everybody to attend. And then there's different session tracks and then different session types. So we'll get into those shortly. But let's say, and for the keynotes, we're pretty much saying, hey, everybody should check this out. But let's say I was particularly interested in going to Adam's Why I Love Spreadsheets. So what you could do is you could see how many spots are left. There's also tags on what these are. So what type of this is and what staff this pertains to. I'm going to get into that a little bit later on as a tip. And then it's as simple as reserving a spot. Notice the number went down, 5 spots left. I'm actually going to remove this because I want to make sure that people actually can reserve this one. So you can take notes here. So you can kind of say, hey, you know what? I want to do this. Notice where I showed you where you can download notes. That might be useful. And then you wouldn't see the manage button, by the way. Every session actually does have stuff. Adam, can't wait for your session. And so this chat can be a running item before. So if you actually want to start to chat in here, start the conversation, you can do that before the actual meeting. The other thing that's going to happen is that you can see who's registered for this once you're logged in. So maybe there's a friend there or another organization. We're going to get into interesting things you can do there. There's also potentially for polls and any downloadable files if the speaker has submitted those. So let's actually see enter questions for the speaker. You can actually go ahead and write something like, I'd really like to know about pivot tables. Okay, so I'm not going to go ahead and actually do that for him, but you get the idea. So you can actually answer polls. We're going to have a lot of interactive elements there, but every single one of these always has a enter your questions for the speaker poll. So you can either use chat or you can use the poll, because if people are maybe asking the same question or stuff like that, we'll be able to see that. So that is a sharing circle that has limited spots. So basically, in order to watch this live meeting, you need to reserve your spot. What does it look like if I want to go over and look at my agenda of what I've actually set aside and registered for? So notice my calendar view is a lot more open. And so maybe I want to check out something like, well, actually, these are all that I'm actually part of. So maybe I'll go back to the agenda. Should we have received an invite to the dashboard already to sign in for the different sessions? Yes, Julia. So our team's going to make a note, and we're going to look you up to resend that if you haven't received it. But yes, you should have gotten your invite. So let's go to another primary session, like our webinar sessions, such as, let's do this live case study. And so this is a pre-recorded one. We have a few of these that are pre-recorded. So what's going to happen is that you're going to live within this, and it's a Zoom. It's basically using Zoom. So you'd be able to watch this pre-recording. It's as simple as clicking watch now, and then it's going to start to play. Pretty much at the time that it's supposed to start, it'll auto play, so you can join on time, catch up. If it's a live session, it will just ask you to kind of click it, and then it will log you into the webinar. And then the sharing circles actually pop up a Zoom pop-up that is for about 20 people, and everybody can talk to each other. Everybody can interact. So we'll get into the differences between the things very shortly, but there's big webinar style content, and then there's ways that you can talk to people. Now, the other thing when it comes to interactive elements is that you could schedule meetings with each other. So let's say you go through the people tab, go through attendees, and you start searching for somebody that you want to have a meeting with. And they do have search tabs where you can look at, products. So let's say you find somebody that's using our Rallybound peer-to-peer, and you're like, I want to talk to them. I heard that they've been doing really interesting things. I want to connect with them. You can go ahead and do that. And so let's say you haven't found their profile to set up a meeting directly with them. You want to do it directly from here. You could do it that way. And add recipients. I'm done. You can have meetings with a bunch of people. If you want to set up your own like internal group meetings or stuff like that, you could do that. And then we've set aside time for 15-minute blocks to have one-on-one meetings. It'll be a one-on-one Zoom for that type of thing. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So this is like the coffee chat. This is like having a coffee chat with somebody. You can do that. We've set aside time for that. But we've also set aside time for our sponsors and exhibitors as well. So let's say you want to instead go over and speak to Cathexis here. You want to connect with Mark Becker, who's one of the speakers. It shows you all the things that they're tied to, such as his full session right now. So let's say you can't get into this session, but you want to talk to Mark. He's going to have some time where you can actually enter the virtual trade show booth. You join the live meeting, opens up a Zoom, opens up another Zoom. And you got the chat, you got the polls, the files, all the same stuff there. So I want to highly encourage you to go through our sponsors, connect with our sponsors. Let's say you're interested in like, I don't want to have a meeting, I just kind of want to like talk to them. There'll be a thing where you can actually request more information as well. You can request more information as well for those different sponsors to kind of kick things off. Final thing that I want to point out from a conversational element is that there's an inbox, so you can send messages to people. So let's say you don't want to set up a meeting, but you're like, hey, I noticed this thing, or I saw that you said this yesterday. Could you remind me, what your organization's doing? Because you're going to see people in the chat, so you could start to engage them in the chat too. But also there is public forums. So me and Rachel have started some stuff up. It actually auto adds some of the things from the chat here. So you're going to see conversations from any of the sessions are going to auto load in here, which is pretty cool. And then somebody can also start up their own, such as what track will you be following for the conference? And then you can go ahead and reply to Rachel here if you want. So you could search through things. You can also start your own conversation here too. Maybe you had a product question, something like that. So a lot of interactive elements. Final thing that I want to point out here before we shift into the mobile view is we have a Neon One info tab. Gives a little bit of information if people are interested in learning more about us, of course. But we have two different tabs. So let's say you are not part of the Neon One ecosystem, or you're interested in another product that we have that you do not currently use, check out the sales team. If you actually want to engage with our support team, like our actual product support team, we're going to have people on call for a virtual trade show booth. So we got Claire and Harrison who are going to be here to be able to talk to them. So you could pop in here during those exhibitor hours. We have 4 different time slots for that, and just pop in and be like, hey, I got a question for you. I want to follow up on a ticket, something like that, and they'll try to help you. If you are having problems with the platform, such as I need to get my login, like Julia, we're going to help you out. But let's say there's something wonky happening. You can go to this FAQ, click this. You can submit a ticket right there. And that goes right to the tech team that manages this platform. And then we're also going to be brought in if it's something that we can help with. I've been answering some of those tickets, for instance. But we got a big FAQ here too. So definitely enjoy that. And also I want to point out our community code of conduct that we have created. So this is just to kind of engage the fact that, hey, we're excited that all these folks are able to interact with each other. Really cool stuff there, but we got to be good to each other, right? So this is our rules for that. And so if there is something that is making you uncomfortable, you can make an anonymous report here. You can email us, and we'll have a review process for that too. But we want to put this here. We want to make it known that this is here as something for people. But hopefully we don't need to leverage the code of conduct because everybody follows the code of conduct. That's our hope. Now, what I also want to do real quick is show you the mobile view. All the same stuff, pretty much. But then let's say I want to look at the game that we have. You can see that, all the different ways that you can earn points, for instance. And then it's going to show you who's the winner, losers, stuff like that. Well, nobody's a loser, but there's going to be people who are going to be doing more points, I will say. So you can check your upcoming meetings here. You can all kind of check all this stuff out. So maybe I want to take a look at feeding philanthropy here. All the same chat items. It's going to load up. Obviously, folks, I am beaming this from my phone onto my computer, so apologies if it's not loading as quickly as it is on my phone. But then also on the side here, kind of like if you check out this little kind of hamburger thing up here, that's the full menu. That's the full menu. But then we do have the call out menu for everything that I just showed you over from here. And you can start to actually watch sessions on here too in a mobile format. All right, I'll load a lot quicker earlier in the day, but that's the mobile view. It's pretty much the same, but little more condensed in the mobile side. So we did the desktop tour, the mobile tour. What I want to do with the remainder of our time is just kind of give you an overview of the content tracks and then call outs for some of our keynotes, and then a little bit of extra fun stuff, and then we're done. Some tips and tricks, and then we're done. So the content tracks, the way that we've organized everything in terms of the 50+ sessions are through 4 primary content organizational tracks. There's the data track, which focuses on data management, key performance indicators, things of that nature. There's the community exchange, which focuses on creating community spirit. This is really well designed explicitly for our giving event hosts, for instance. So the community foundations, state associations, there's a lot of stuff for them, but there's something for everybody in all of these. The social exchange is interaction. So social media, form design, Marketing and communications, those are going to be found there. Peer-to-peer fundraising, a lot of different tracks there. And then the impact track is kind of that how do we do things efficiently? How do we think about ROI? How do we think about business operations? How do we think about operational data, right? A lot of times you're going to go to these fundraising conferences and they don't talk about accounting. We got a lot of stuff on that. We got stuff about donor advised funds and other sophisticated ways on how donors think. We're actually going to hear from donors. We actually have donors at our conference that we're going to hear from. So really, really cool stuff. There is also a secret track called the Life Exchange, and that is our social events and meditation sessions, things of that nature. So that's when you actually go over to here, in terms of the schedule, you're going to see, and you can actually search through this, and you can filter by the different tracks as well. So kind of the ways that we're organizing these two, there's keynote sessions, which is basically things that impact everybody. And so I'm going to walk through all of the keynotes that we have very shortly. We have webinar sessions, which are just kind of those big ideas, but it's maybe a little bit more focused. So not everybody necessarily is gonna get something out of it, but if you do, it's kind of drilling a little bit deeper than maybe a keynote, for instance, which might be kind of high level strategy or just where the direction of the industry is going. Sharing circles are for direct interaction. That's kind of those small group sessions. We're trying to limit those to 20 people to make sure that everybody has some interaction there. If you're an introvert and you just want to hide your camera and not interact and listen as a fly on the wall, that's fine. But just know that these are designed for interactive elements. The webinar sessions and the keynotes are automatically recorded. We're encouraging the sharing circles to be recorded for later review, but it is not a requirement, especially if it's something where it's like, I don't want, everybody in this room doesn't want this recorded. Like that's fine. It's up to the presenter and the people who are in the session. But the big stuff will be automatically recorded, as well as our product sessions, which actually are these are sharing circle style, other than our keynote, but you get to directly interact with our product team to ask them questions. So you could say, when is that coming out? And they'll go, I'll get back to you on development timeline. So those are the ways that we're organizing that. You will also see these tagged underneath here. So we're tagging them in the color coding of the track, and then also the tags underneath here. There's another secret tag specific to sessions that we think relate to your role. So notice I click this event staff or marketing staff, for instance, and it's going to load up all the sessions that actually relate to that specific tag, which is pretty cool. So that'll load in a bit, but you get the idea. All right, so let's do a little bit of quick breakout on the keynotes, and then I'll give some tips and tricks, give you some swag, and then we'll see you next week. So the four primary keynotes that we're excited about is, first, the future of generosity. This is how we're going to kick things off. So hopefully you're not sick of hearing me talk a little bit, because I'm going to introduce the conference itself. And then we're going to hear from a few thought leaders in the space who work for nonprofits on basically what do we do now. So we're going to hear from Gentle Barn Foundation, Communities First Foundation, and the National Kidney Foundation on kind of the future of generosity, future of our industry. Really interesting stuff. They're doing really, really cool things, every single one of them. Then we're going to hear a special pitch session. So we've put out a call for a bunch of organizations to basically join us in a very special presentation where, if you've ever heard of Pechakucha, it's Japanese for chit chat. And basically what this is that nonprofits are going to be making their best donor pitch, like why you should support our organization, but they can only do it through 20 images that rotate every 20 seconds. So image 1, 20 seconds later, image 2, 20 seconds later, et cetera, et cetera. So then you get to vote. You get to vote. So we took some applications, picked 6 organizations. hopefully they all can do it. And no matter what, we're going to vote, and everybody's going to win money, but the top one's going to win a larger donation, thanks to our partners at Charity Dynamics for that. So I'm pretty interested in that one. This is a really exciting one. It is going to be pre-recorded, but we're going to have Colin Pizarnik, our Chief Product Officer, available to join the chat. And this is about unifying our ecosystem. A lot of you may be familiar with individual products, maybe Neon CRM or Rallybound, or using Civicor client case management, something like that. We're going to talk about how we are unifying our vision in a lot of different ways, and this is going to have some really exciting impact for not only the industry, for your organizations, but also for how we talk about our company and present our company. So, spoiler, we're going to be doing a rebrand. So you're going to get a sneak peek at that. But the rebrand is actually primarily because we're doing stuff in the back end from the technology side that we're very excited about. So we got some really cool things that we're going to be telling all of you about that affect all of you. Doesn't matter what size organization, there is something for you that is going to make your life easier. That's the whole point. And then we're going to hear about the role of equity and generosity from Denise Barato and Vu Le. We're really excited about this keynote. This is one of the early ones that we locked in to kind of help set the tone for what this means to us. Yes, it's exciting to talk about things that we do, but more importantly, there's a larger world that needs to be changed out there. And so we want to hear about where we want to go. And that's going to be interactive as well. So very excited about all those keynotes, all the individual product sessions as well. Some tips and tricks before we shift into and maybe any general questions that you have. But first, set up your profile. We're going to help you get in. If you haven't already, pop in today. Add some stuff. Start earning some points. Start putting your agenda together. As you can see, some of those sharing circle sessions are getting filled up. So hopefully, you get what you want to check out. And if stuff fills up, we're going to try to adjust to maybe add some if there's a lot of demand for it. But yeah, the sooner you get your agenda set, the better you can kind of plan your day. Now, one thing on that is you, as a registrant, get full access to the entire platform for a year. So this doesn't go away after the 4th. You can come back, you can review things that have been recorded, you can get the downloadables and stuff like that later on. Interact. Set up a coffee meeting, talk to a vendor, please. We can't have this event without our sponsors, so they are doing great stuff. These are not random organizations. Every single one of these partners are people that have been vetted and curated by our ecosystem. We are so proud to work with them, and we wouldn't have a generosity exchange without them. So give them some love. Give them some love, and then start a discussion. We want people to chat. We want people to exchange. We want to hear what's important to you. So you can start that now, even, and then have fun. We got the trivia night. We have the trivia night that we're going to be doing. So that's in the platform itself. Spoiler: there should be a cameo from a Parks and Recreation actor in that. Not going to tell you who. We have a live stream event that we're doing later on. Let's see. Our access emails being sent. I still have 2 attendees who haven't been invited to create a profile. I'll submit the form yesterday as required. So the form attendees, I uploaded a batch yesterday of 50 people. There's about 14 that came in overnight. So maybe, Janelle, your folks are part of that group, but if they were done yesterday, then they should have received their invites, but we could follow up. I'll check what organization you're part of, and then we'll follow up there. But they should have gotten the invites if they were submitted yesterday. But we'll make sure they do, absolutely. And then so there's a live stream event with some comedians. We have an award show to celebrate nonprofits, and then we have the gamification itself. So have fun. It's a virtual event. It's not the same as a physical conference. We understand that. So we're trying to make it on its own terms. This is a production. For you to make it fun. So, yeah. So get your swag, download the PDF here. And folks, if you can go to the event platform itself too, for other attendees, they might be able to help as well. You could submit some tickets for that too. Don't forget that's another option that you have. But get your swag. We've actually created a few fun things for you. If you download the PDF for today's presentation, we have some Zoom backgrounds that we've created and curated for you. We have a Spotify playlist of songs that people in our company and my wife put together because she's like, you know, you got to have more Taylor Swift, basically. So we got that going on. And then this is a fun one, actually. I'm going to show you this one. We just debuted this. You're the first folks that have actually seen this. Neon One's got some company values that we've put together. So if you have kids, we actually have these coloring sheets that you can download and print for your kids. I have 3 kids. If you notice, I have a child. I have 3. And so coloring sheets were really needed during some lockdown stuff that we had here in New York. So we made some. Print them out, use them. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to check on you folks that still need your login. Definitely use the ticket support by going to the site and hitting the FAQ button right there. They can kind of get that support. They're answering tickets now, by the way. It says get day of support, but they're answering it now. So definitely you can submit that. But we'll check on everybody here. And otherwise, we're going to see you next week. We're going to see you next week. So we got a little bit of time. We ran through this in about a half an hour. I'm going to move my webcam over and see if there's any final questions. We'll give it maybe another minute or two. We got the folks who we need to check on their registrations. Of course, we're going to help you there. Otherwise, can't wait to have you. Can't wait to have you. Go start a discussion. Talk about what you're excited about. We'd love to hear that. Any final questions, folks, before we sign off today? All right, short and sweet. Very cool. Well, we'll see you next week. It's going to be a fun event. And yeah, can't wait to make good happen with you folks next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Use hashtag Generosity Exchange if you want to join the conversation on social. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.